Welcome back, everybody. We got another great mini doc for the RV Collective audience. But first, I'm joined by RV member and member of Seize the Memes by 6529, Daniel. Welcome to the show, Daniel.
Thank you, Nico. Great to be here.
So I'd love to hear a little bit about what is it about this collection by Punk 6529's means to you, and why are you such an ardent member of the Seize the Memes community?
The reason why I got into it, it was a small step, right? Buying the first NFT, it was actually freedom to explore. The reason why I bought it, it's the freedom element appeals to me. That's what's called me into blockchain, into Bitcoin, into Ethereum, and eventually what pulled me as well into NFTs and into the memes. As I read more about the mission, as I heard the interviews that Punk 6529 has had with Raoul Pal, which I think was probably one of the triggering moments, the concept of metaverse and the concept of or the role that NFTs played into it really, really attracted me. And I have to say that as I read more, as I saw more of the memes coming out, I loved the art, I loved the message. I love the community, how it was supporting artists, what people were talking about the art. And I think those are really the first key things that pulled me in.
Amazing. Now, can you talk a little bit about just what is the message that Punk 6529 is trying to accomplish with this collection, and just why the date 2030 is so important in this world?
So, the message, I'll tell you my interpretation of the message, which I think is the most important one. I think first one, it's all about freedom. And it starts with whether it's freedom to transact, freedom to express, freedom to be decentralized, right? So it's providing a platform for one to be themselves, express themselves and stand up independently. I think that's the main part that I take out of it. The second element that I take out of it is there's an onboarding / educational element, right? That's when you hear about the cultural elements such as we're all going to make it or nobody's going to make it, the elements of survive, the element of Web3, and the elements also in terms of how to keep ourselves safe with discussions such as TAP, the ACID protocol, right? So if you look at it, it's really a big social construct, which I think is what Punk would actually mention it to be, in terms of building the social foundations for what the metaverse is supposed to be.
I love that. That's really well said. And what I think is really interesting too, is you said this is your interpretation. It pretty much closely aligns with the interpretation everybody else has. And it's amazing to see a disparate group of people all coalesce around this one message that has really, massive potential for what our future could be in this new digital world. One question I asked all the guests, although not all of their answers made it in because some of them overlapped, was what's one of your favorite memes from the collection?
My favorite meme.
Doesn't have to be your absolute favorite, but one that you really enjoy, or a couple of them.
It's extremely difficult, Nico. I would have to say that one that will always stay in my heart is really the Freedom to Explore by Katsumark, because it was the first.
Yeah.
Simply because it has been the first. Whenever I see a new meme card coming out, if I really love it, that's the first thing I'll tweet. Right. And it's amazing the amount that comes out. But I'd have to say the one that will stick in my memory and the one that in which I remember buying it is really the Freedom to Explore.
Oh, I love that. And it's really interesting. I feel like everybody we spoke with, they had a similar answer. It was the first one that got them into this whole world. And it's like the one that opened the gates, or, the red pill, blue pill matrix moment for them. One other thing I wanted to touch on is the community, because this is really one of the stronger communities in the digital asset space. You guys are still rocking and rolling despite price action, not being what everybody wants. Many cases, nobody really cares about what the price is. The mission is larger So can you talk to me a bit about what you have found in this community? Because, you know, the audience should know you introduced me to everybody we're about to interview. And so it's thanks to you and your reaches in this community, this even exists.
Well, the community, I know part of the community because there's literally thousands of people, and there are groups of people who hang out across all the type of group chats, whether it be Discord or X. But the community I got to meet in September when I was brought into the Meme Maxi group chat, and it's just such a big and embracing group of people, right? It's different opinions, different countries, different cultures, different backgrounds, different tastes, different discussions, right? But the element that really unifies all of them, I would say, is really the freedom theme, right? It's the fact that I would not say that necessarily we're all behind the mission, but we're all there because we love the art, because we believe the direction in which we're going is the right one, and then each one is contributing in their own manner.
Oh, I love that. And I just want to make a quick note before we wrap things up. I think this is the first time we've done one of these where not a single person we interviewed is American, which I thought was really interesting. Because every time I hopped on with, whether it was you or MOJ or Articulate, it was like, I'm in another country today. This is super exciting. And I also have to say, you are all just such lovely people that it was tough just chatting about Seize the Memes. Moj and I might have talked a little bit about Portuguese football. So thank you so much, Daniel, for introducing us, for being a part of this. And I can't wait for everybody to watch it. So without further ado, let's get to our feature presentation.
Really looking forward, and I really appreciate the opportunity.
This is a great way of getting those sort of promoting the open metaverse values to people, making it really extend the reach through a natural mean of the internet that people understand.
We used to PFP collections and, one-on-ones and stuff like that. And then 6529 starts dropping art that is so different.
I think it's more than an on-chain NFT art project. I think it's more than a collection of art made by different artists. I think it's a vision for a future where online freedoms are protected.
I was instantly hooked because that he was summarizing so well what I really found most enticing and interesting about the NFT space, which is like decentralization and the potential for having a censorship resistant future in terms of what we own and what we produce.
After all the years in the space, I encountered someone with a vision in Web3 that resonated with my understanding of NFTs enabling digital identities and a digital society.
The brainchild of anonymous crypto Twitter personality Punk6529, the memes by 6529 debuted in a time where digital assets, NFTs, were dominated by profile pictures, PFPs. But Punk had a grand vision not only for art, but for the very freedoms of this brave new world of digital identity.
I was there on Twitter when 6529 posted his first GM, which later went to become a meme card. So I of course, I didn't see immediately the first GM because that was like he didn't have any followers at the time. But soon, very quickly, his threads about decentralization and open metaverse and everything became very popular. And I was instantly hooked.
When the memes collection was released, it was an obvious decision for me to join and support both the artists and the project's mission, which are guiding us towards a promising future for Web3. The message is that NFTs enable digital identities, paving the way for a decentralized society and the potential emergence of an evolving network state.
And I've spoken to other people that have been there since the beginning about it, and they tend to agree, which is the collection was so different and was so distinguished from anything that we knew at the time when we used to PFP collections and, one-on-ones and stuff like that. And then 6529 starts dropping art that is so different from what we were used to seeing. And also the pieces were different between themselves and they didn't make sense in a way. So people were like, if this is one collection, then why are all the pieces so different? Why is there a different artist for every piece? And then you had to really dig in and go see, okay, there's a theme here. There are themes that are being illustrated through the art, and together, it all just makes sense.
But it wasn't until the tweet storms that really captured my attention. And when 6529 started writing about, it's a Jedi versus the Death Star sort of a mission to protect our future online digital freedoms, I was really interested. I even had some correspondence. So 6529 followed me back in 2021. And not that we spoke in private, but I was just really interested in the kind of perspective. It really aligned with my understanding of what was interesting and important about blockchain technology.
It was about 2 years ago, and now I have my own company, which is Meta Campus, and we are about onboarding people into Web3. So I was joining some of the Web3 communities that could actually be useful for understanding the culture and the vision of an open metaverse, which is the same values that they had. So that's why, in order to become part of the community, initially I started seizing the memes with that view. And the first meme, I think, was the first GM meme card that they bought. And then, of course, then I learned that I could discover lots of new artists, with each meme card. So that was the second part, initially to become part of the community, and then to learn about new artists in the space.
You want to unfuck your shit?
This is live.
Yeah, that's being recorded. Hey, listen, if you want to unfuck your future, then come and join us in the Real Vision community. Incredible platform, amazing content, some of the smartest people in the world, and amazing tools. And guess what? It'll cost you nothing. Come to realvision.com. I'll see you there, and let's help you unfuck your future.
But despite how each community member joined, it was the message of an open, decentralized metaverse powered by memetics that made each and every member stay and spread the message far and wide.
I've been in a digital space for a few decades, and yes, memes was always part of the internet culture. From the early beginning, and then through the even through Web 2, and so it was always a very powerful way of relaying messages. Also, a very dangerous way to influence people through politics, and we have lived that through some of the elections, some of the how you can actually change people's behavior and influence the way that they think or how they act. Through really simple messages with a very, high graphical value. So I understood the power of memes before joining here. And that's why, I thought actually this is a great way of getting those sort of promoting the open metaverse values to people, making it really extend the reach through a natural mean of the internet that people understand, and then let them inquire about what these messages mean, what is underlying, and then that leads to the more detailed conversation.
I had a much more superficial understanding of what memes were, like basically these badly drawn images that we share incessantly online. And the most interesting thing that I realized after reading his theorizing about memes and everything is that I was actually also a meme artist from before, and I didn't know that because I wasn't making those drawings for sharing online, but my work in parts it was also adding some humorous or some like metaphorical approach to other issues, and themes and stuff. And then I look back at my work and I realized that I'm like, in a way, I'm also a meme artist, and And I had no idea about this because there wasn't the concept there. There was just like the will to do those things.
So in terms of the power of memetics, I knew what a meme was. I'd heard the term. I understood what internet memes were, but they certainly had a disposable quality to them. And it was 6529 that connected the idea of a trivial, silly, ephemeral internet meme to something as potent as the idea of a nation state or the concept of money. And that connection was easy for me to make, very powerful. And once I'd understood it, it became really exciting, and it drew me in. The idea that if you could create a meme around freedom, decentralization, the use of technology, and the way the future could look, if you could create that, if you could propagate that, then you could protect that, even if you weren't building the technology yourself, even if you weren't a multi-trillion-dollar mega corporation, you could change the course of history in a positive direction. And that strategy really appealed to me because it seemed rational, as opposed to becoming a massive VC, or even some of the elements of effective altruism, which have become more problematic around wealth accrual. This was about, how about we get an idea? How about we find a community? How about we see if it can survive? And let's do that in a really transparent and rational way, where we don't ask of people anything that they aren't willing to give, contribute, make. That to me was interesting.
Indeed, at the heart of the project has always been the concept of CC0, Creative Commons license, allowing everyone to use the images as they see fit, or even get in on creating a meme card themselves.
One of the most important aspects of the Memes by 6529 that isn't discussed as much as the 2030 vision and the future online freedom is that all of the art is CC0. And 6529 also helped pioneer a broader social awareness of the power of CC0 with summer.jpg and a buying spree early on for GM themed memes. CC0 is understandably controversial, and it's not for every artist and it's not for every piece of art. But what the memes does is it produces art that the artists are paid fairly for, that is released publicly without reservation or right, that can be used by anybody. And one of the things, as a small card holder, as someone who isn't overly financially invested in the project, but who spends a lot of time there, one of the things I'm most interested in is the Rememe project and the Rememe community. This is where you take a piece of art and you make it into your own thing. So even if you don't spend a lot of money on a card, 3 times a week, new art by incredible artists drops that you can then take, remix, play with. And the types of things that have emerged from that are really powerful.
The Rememe project has a very specific goal, which is probably a little different than the usual Rememe project goals. We kind of, got on our little high horse and thought this art needs explaining, because there's that time old question of what does this mean when we're looking at a piece of art. So what Anna and I did was we thought we should come up with a way of explaining the art, but not being art critics ourselves. We thought, okay, so who are we going to use, or what are we going to do to help explain what people are seeing in these pieces of art? And then it just came to me, and I thought, we're going to use Punk's words. So that's what we do. We associate Punk quotes, Punk 6529 quotes, to meme art to help one helps explain the other, and it kind of combines and makes this, I think, really cool setting for people to use as onboarding tools and stuff like that. So that's what we were aiming for, spreading the word and spreading the art.
I was doing a photographic project, and I took a shot from the top of a building with a drone shot from the top down on a building. It was a self-portrait, but when I took that shot, I had an idea about a short film made with a lot of people on top of that building, and I put 2 and 2 together and I said, this is gonna be my name card. And I pitched the idea to him. I sent the drone shot from the top and said, this is more or less how it's gonna be shot. And this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to have a lot of people, and they're going to be like shaping the GM and OM with their bodies on top of the building. And he said, just go for it. That's awesome. And 1 month later, I had made my own meme card.
And like one would expect for such a passionate community, everyone remains optimistic that Punk 6529's grand vision for the open metaverse will become a reality.
Those of us who have survived previous crypto winters know that the price of tokens is inconsequential to long-term goals. Our focus should consistently be on the technology that enables us to construct exceptional socio-cultural systems, which will be vital for future human societies. The memes by 6529 play a crucial role in enabling a network state through NFTs. Primarily, we aim to articulate common sense, our cultural values and myths by expressing them through art. Societal values are rooted in stories that shape beliefs and visions. I view the memes as the cornerstone of this movement.
I think what 6529 is doing is so important because he's putting the infrastructure in there so that when everything else is ready, some things are not in our control or in his control, but when everything else is there, we're going to be ready. I think that's it's being built right now. So little by little, we're building this stuff. I'm excited about Seas, and also it's by far like my biggest investment in my life, also in monetary terms, So being a full set collector of the memes, if I stop to think how much money I have put in there, it's like it's a bit crazy. But that's what having conviction is, right? So I feel confident, and I feel like I feel happy in terms of I know I'm gonna have fun and enjoy the ride, whatever that ride is, for the next years.
If you can look forward and build now without thinking of immediate compensation for what you're doing or immediate results, if you can stay and think in 10 years' time, people will be looking back at the foundations of the space and see you there and see our project there and see everything that we're doing now there, then that should be enough for you to stay and for you to not go. Because you're being part of history being built in this space. So I think that's a pretty compelling argument for people to stay on and to create and to use the CC0 thing and to create their own rememes and stuff like that, and to keep minting and to keep participating, for artists to want to keep to get on the project and to be part of the project. So it's more the total is way bigger than the sum of the parts, I think.
I do have very high hopes on what we're building. I still believe very strongly about the initial vision, and 2030 being one of those really milestones about totally mass adoption. Although you probably whenever you have a 5 or 7 year prediction, and then AI comes into play, the way things accelerate, I'm hoping that it may be 2 or 3 years before 2030 when we have a mass adoption of I would say NFTs, but also a mass adoption of NFT, meaning that we've been able to explain these the values and the benefits of privacy and decentralization and self-custody to as many people as possible. Otherwise, we will miss a big opportunity to create a better digital society, and that would be a lost opportunity. And that's why we're here. We still believe they'll have a small chance to influence, how we build our digital society in the future for the better.
One of the ways I think about the project is that in between a future of digital tyranny and a future of digital freedom can be a line of minted art on a public blockchain. For that to work, you need to have somewhere where people can go and understand more than just the minted part. That's technically confusing at the moment. So Seas.io is a website that you can access on a browser using your mobile phone device or any of the Web 2 technology you're familiar with that will show you the art, that will help you download some of the assets that it involves, and that will start to unravel some of the things you can build using the infrastructure that 6529 has put together. So we start talking about some of these acronyms like TDH, which is just a metric for how long you've held cards, but it's actually a really clever way of ascribing proof of humanity to a wallet without relying on biometrics or KYC. You can talk about messaging, which is separate from Discord, X, and some of the other social platforms that are incredibly located within mega corporations. You can talk about wallet-to-wallet messaging and a whole bunch of other functionality that hasn't even been announced yet. But the main thing you can do is just show up, understand some of the community, see some of the activity going on, and it's a much friendlier way to be onboarded to the project than either crypto Twitter, which is an opaque place at the best of times and moves very quickly, or Etherscan, which is too deep into the tech stack and also opaque for other reasons. So if you're curious about the memes, just go to Seas.io, have a look at what the art there. If you're curious about the memes, just go to Seas.io, have a look at the art of the day, see what the community's up to, and hopefully come and join us somewhere where we're talking about it.
We hope you enjoyed the video. At Real Vision, we help you understand the complex world of finance, business, and the global economy with in-depth analysis from real experts. Join the revolution at realvision.com.